Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 285 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. How's it going, Trevor?
Hey. Doing all right. How's your weekend going so far?
So I got to apologize ahead of time. I do have a cold, and so I'm trucking through this. So if my voice sounds a little weird, that's why. I do want to mention, though, too, we're not going to do another show before Thanksgiving. So, I mean, after Thanksgiving, I should say. So not that we're not going to do one for the rest of the year. I'm just saying the week after Thanksgiving, we will not have a show.
Yeah, next weekend will be no show.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
It's not me, guys. It's Tom and Damon, because these guys decided that, like your whole country wants to do Thanksgiving at the end of November when I had mine done back in October.
Listen, I'm on your side. I think your Thanksgiving makes way more sense than ours. So
it is a lot easier. I will admit.
It is, yeah. There's like too short of a time period, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you guys give it like a whole month to breathe, Yeah,
and then we have time to actually go and do like Black Friday shopping because we're not having to do Thanksgiving and Black Friday. We just have Black Friday. So yeah, consider becoming an adopted Canadian family if you don't want to do Thanksgiving at the end of October or at the end of November.
Yeah, my wife was saying this the other day, and I don't know if I disagree with her on this. She's like, does Black Friday even matter anymore? Because like mostly Amazon does Prime Days a couple days a year, and then there's pre-Black Friday sales, and it's just like it's Black Friday all the time now.
Everybody's trying to beat everybody else to the punch with it, and I've noticed that too. Is like right now, like I don't know about you, but my phone is just constantly blowing up with like Black Friday emails because, over time, you just shop with different sites and places and whatever. And so your email address is attached to a bunch of places, and, things that like I haven't even looked at in years are like, hey, we're having a Black Friday sale. And it's like, okay, thank you.
That's my new favorite thing
from you.
My new favorite thing on Gmail now is if you don't click on one of those emails for like a certain amount of time, they go, you haven't opened one of these emails in 3 months. Do you want to unsubscribe? And I'm like, yes, I do. I've been too lazy to do that, but now that you've prompted me to.
I should maybe. So all I do I just go through and I'm actively deleting them. Maybe I should just stop deleting them so that
you should unsubscribe. Yeah, you should unsubscribe.
Yeah, I have been getting in the habit of that too. It's I guess I could just stop getting the emails, but yeah, it's funny how it's easier to just delete the email than it is to do the extra couple of clicks to unsubscribe.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so Thanksgiving is this week. So happy Thanksgiving to all the US folks. Happy belated Thanksgiving to all the Canadian folks over a month ago.
Enjoy your turkey.
Yeah, we'll enjoy our turkey. I know that I am our party is going to have 2 turkeys, which feels like a lot, but I've been roped into so for some reason I got known years ago in my family circles as the person who knows how to deep fry turkeys. And so, which is a problem because then everyone's like, "Whoa, can you do the deep fryer?" And I'm like, "I don't really want to, though." And so,
but it's really good, and I want it.
It is, but I started doing the oilless deep fryer, which I don't know if you've done that before, but that's the way to go because the
like an air fryer. Or
it's like it's a thing. It sits outside. It's propane. It's like does it through like I don't know what it's called, but it's not directly on it. It's really interesting how it works. It's like infrared heat. It's very. Yeah, but it kind of gives you a very similar result to the fried turkey without having to deal with the oil situation. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so I just get a text the other day because we're gonna be at my sister-in-law's. They're like, "Hey, can you deep fry this turkey in the oilless deep fryer?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Let's do it.
It sounds more like it sounds like a broiler kind of situation.
I mean, it's hard to describe. Yeah. It's hard to describe, honestly. It's you think oil is deep frying, you're like, what does that even mean? Like that doesn't make any sense, right? But it is kind of like that,
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, It's a good way to cook it though. If nobody's ever done that before, I'm sure some people will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a good way to do things. But it's funny because I'm just I'm going to be cooking and doing all this other stuff, but I'm also traveling very far, so there's that. And I also have a cold, so there's that.
That's always a fun combination.
Yeah, yeah. I only got to drive like 10 hours, right? So anyway,
okay, yeah. I just saw you put the link to the Walmart page for this deep fryer.
I just laugh that it's called it's basically the one that you use. It's called the Big Easy, and it just makes me laugh because it's just a funny name. But but yeah, it's great. It's if nobody's ever done it before. If you ever had a fried turkey, first of all, fried turkey is the way to go. But if you don't want to deal with the oil, which is a pain, then the oil gives you a pretty similar result. So
I mean, you piqued my interest. The one thing I'll say is I don't know, in my family there is a lot of traditionalists in my family, and not to say that we do try stuff every year, but there's certain things that it's like we do it a certain way and people don't want us to mess with it.
I get it. Yeah.
I don't know if you get, like, obviously, it sounds like the deep fried turkey is like a thing in your family, and that's what they're going for. But yeah, in my family, it's like I feel like if I changed, or if I was like, hey, I'm doing a deep fried turkey, I would get like but you're doing a regular one too, right? Like,
yeah. Well, that's what's happening for mine. I mean, I think we have a big crew there, so they have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have a fairly large family that gets together.
Yeah.
Mine at this point, I think there's usually only about 10 people, so making 2 turkeys is a stretch for sure. I mean,
yeah,
because maybe I could do chickens.
You can do a lot of stuff in this thing. Actually, you could do. I forget all the stuff, but there's a ton of stuff you can do in this thing. So
okay. I'm going to send this to my wife without any context, and then she can listen to this episode and understand where this came from.
She can understand, yeah, and then she can ask my wife what she thinks of the oilless deep fryer, because it is. Listen, it makes a great turkey. It really does, because you get that juiciness of it, and it's also only takes like 10 minutes a pound too. So you like way faster than the oven, yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's what I'm doing for my Thanksgiving.
Enough about turkeys. But yes,
there was actually a fair amount of news over the past week.
Fair amount of interesting news. But let's start with the accounting news. The
fun stuff, right?
I was going to say the boring stuff, but for some people this isn't boring. It is. I find it interesting, but
you're just excited because the poly dues went down by 3.5%. So
I was going to get there, but yeah. So dues have been released for 2025, and across the board, the increases have been pretty average, which usually like they say, it's about like a 4 to 6% increase, and that does track with what we're seeing with the increases this year. Unfortunately for you, Tom, Animal Kingdom Villa's got the 6.22%.
Yeah, that's the tough one.
That's a little rough for sure.
Actually, no, it's not. It's not number one. Key West is actually higher for some reason.
There are. That was the highest increase in terms of overall value per point for dues. You're still only sitting at $9 per point, or $9.6 per point. Whereas, if you're at Vero Beach, it's $14. So just to give it some context, yes, it went up, but this is still kind of standard stuff that they do year over year. And across the board, everything's kind of sitting in that $7, $8, $9 range for the most part. The poly dropped from 8.2 to 7.9. So we lost 3%, but that is because of the tower opening up.
Because of the tower,
and the same thing happened at Fort Wilderness as well. Or actually, no, sorry, Fort Wilderness Cabins.
The Fort Wilderness Cabins,
yeah. So it's not that Fort Wilderness, it's not that Wilderness Lodge, like Boulder Ridge or Copper Creek, went down. But if you happen to buy at the cabins, so I wonder if that's because they added more
I'm guessing it's just because they overestimated, and then the actual amounts came in, right?
Inventory came on. And,
sure.
And that adjusted the price because they've been slowly releasing inventory for these resorts, right?
Yeah. Well, and they also mentioned here too, and this was an article a little while ago, that the largest increases were the property tax component, right? So like the property taxes went up 8 to 9%. So that alone is basically what is attributed to a lot of this.
Which I thought we had talked about that they were supposed to be backtracking on some of the property tax stuff from years ago because they had done a reassessment. So maybe it's not, or maybe it won't hit on this year's dues, or maybe that's still in process. So
I think it's still up in the air. I think it's still like in the courts, you know?
Right. So yeah, maybe next year you'll be the one seeing negative dues increase. Yeah. I'm happy about this, but
well, yeah, on the bright side though, too, Bay Lake is my other contract, and that one has some of the lowest. It has very low dues compared to everywhere else. So you're actually, Bay Lake is sitting about the same as Poly right now. Yeah. Actually, So I'm surprised at how low the dues are at Poly. You just would think that they would be higher, but I mean, I guess it makes sense. And I mean, also I understand too why not a lot of people are buying Fort Wilderness with the dues being that high. Like that's a lot, considering what it is. Now, listen, I understand for like Vero and for Hilton Head, because they have to like maintain hurricane insurance and reserves for repairs from hurricanes. But like, I mean, I guess they kind of do too, because if a tree falls on a cabin, then there's a problem, you know, during a hurricane. But it still feels kind of weird that it's so expensive.
Yeah, I want to say it's also like, if you think about it, like doing maintenance at places like the Poly and stuff, I feel like they can cut costs because it is like one large central building. So it is actually more efficient for like doing any kind of maintenance tasks is easier when everything's all bunched together. Right. And if you think about it, like all the hotels around Magic Kingdom are those like compact, I don't know, standard kind of buildings. Right. Whereas if you think about like, the cabins are spread out. So, you know, there is more logistical stuff that comes with that.
Well, and not only that, there's just more property to pay property taxes on, right? So you have a larger piece of property. That's a good point because, you know, to your point, like most of the resorts sit on a pretty small piece of property. The Fort Wilderness cabins are on a wide swath of, I don't know what the acreage is, but it's probably a lot.
Yeah. And you know, similarly look at, you know, like Old Key West and Saratoga. Although you know they're not like super high either, but you know they are relatively spread out too, right? So that also makes sense. Like from a property tax standpoint, they do have more property to address. Whereas the Poly and Bay Lake Tower are very compact in the larger scheme of things. So well, it's true. Lots of things to think about. Like you know, I guess you know us talking about this. Okay, it was episode 285. You know, we should, I'm going to make a mental note of this when people are talking about, you know, where should I buy? Like, you know, dues do factor into that. And some of these things that we're talking about, you know, these are reasons to consider if you're buying one place or another. Like, obviously, you know, the initial point value is one thing, but also maintenance and property tax and all that kind of stuff, that does play into your long-term investment in these properties. So like, you know, I would not buy Vero Beach just because like $14 a point is crazy.
Well, it's also why you can get the Vero contract so much cheaper, right? Like, you know, you can get a Vero contract cheaper, but the thing is, you know, if you don't know anything about DVC, you're like, oh, well, look, why wouldn't I just buy it Vero? Look how much cheaper it is. And then you're like, but then you find out later that the dues are so much higher.
Yeah. If you do the math, the dues are almost double some other places. So
yeah, exactly. Let's talk about this new member lounge at Magic Kingdom, because they put out a piece of concept art finally, and it's going to be called McKim's Mile House, which is a curious name, but they do explain it. So it's a nod to the former Imagineer and Disney legend Sam McKim, who helped influence the design of Frontierland. So I love when they do stuff like that, you know. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. I will say the concept art of this looks cool. They are saying it's going to open summer 25, so not that far off, honestly, at this point, because we're only, maybe 6-7 months from this at this point. But
yeah,
I'm looking at this though, Trevor. I'm assuming that it's only the first level, right? There's stairs that go to the second level, but they don't seem like a place that you can go.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the bottom of the stairs, there's a little gate blocking off the stairs.
Yeah.
So I assume that is either. I mean, maybe that could be. We talked about the extended membership benefits. Maybe that's something relating to that, like a VIP area or a meet and greet area, something like that. It could just be cast member access inside of the lounge, or
it could just be decorative. You never know.
That's true too. Yeah, sometimes they build staircases that don't go anywhere, which make me sad because
I do have to say this looks very cool and it looks very Frontierland.
It does. I was going to say, the one thing that I'm getting from this is I realize that, Frontierland, there's not a lot of spaces in Frontierland that feel like, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's weird how when you look, there's a lot of outdoor spaces in Frontierland, but you always think about cabins and old time Western kind of stuff. This feels like an old time Western tavern, which
it does.
You really don't have in Frontierland, which is kind of odd. In Frontierland in Disney World, in Disneyland, there's a little bit more, but yeah, it's really. It's sorely missing, and I love the details in this, like the oil lamps and it's got that huge fireplace with the rock work and everything. Yeah.
And they have to build this from scratch, basically, because none of this existed. This was the shooting gallery, right? So they're building this whole thing basically from scratch.
I guess the one thing I will say that this actually, the more I'm looking at it, does feel like an extension of Golden Horseshoe, which I'm okay with. Like
sure.
It's a nice vibe, and I'm hoping that seating wise, the way that they're showing this, it doesn't look like. I mean, they're kind of just showing a corner of it. It looks like there's maybe seating for 15 people in this picture. Which,
there's got to be more than that, though. It's just the concept art, right?
Yeah, if it's only 30 or 40 people that you can get in there, that's
it's got to be tough.
Yeah, and especially in Magic Kingdom, I'll be curious how busy this place is, or how how often there's a wait list to get into this place when it opens up. Because, I mean, it'll be new, obviously, but I feel like if it's not anywhere near big enough, it's just going to be. I'll be sad if it's something that I can't make use of as a DVC member.
I get that. Yeah, I mean, it is going to be interesting to see how this works out, but I do appreciate that we're finally seeing something about it, though. It is good to see some concept art. To your point, you were talking about kind of the missing that kind of Frontierland kind of thing. I mean, I know it's technically Adventureland, but that Pirates of the Caribbean bar at some point is going to be kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, and
more of what you're describing, because I mean the line between Adventureland and Frontierland is not that far off, right? It's
it is, but strangely in my head there is a line there, like Western versus pirate / jungle, exotic adventure. They, even though they're literally back to back, to me it's they're not the same thing.
No, they're not the same. No.
And if if having spaces that transition between them, I'm actually kind of glad, because I know we talked about this previously, maybe they would make this a transition space. I'm glad they kind of picked this as this is firmly a Frontierland thing instead of trying to mash the two together, because that would not work in my opinion. Yeah.
No, that would not work at all. I'm actually looking at this and I'm thinking that the spot that they have underneath the stairs right in the middle there, that looks just like a closet, I feel like that's where the freestyle machines are going to go. They look like perfect size for freestyle machines.
The double doors, or
those double doors right there.
Yeah,
and there's a little counter right next to it.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, the cubby there. Yeah, that looks like you're right. The freestyle machines. I was looking at the double doors as that would be the entrance in and out, but
I think the entrance is behind us in this concept art.
Yeah, which makes me wonder: is this this must be facing out towards Frontierland, Or do you think this is facing towards Adventureland?
I think we're facing towards Adventureland from this photo. Yeah, that's my guess.
Because I was envisioning this as like, oh, like, you know, that little window space on the top of the doors is like, that's how much of a view you're going to get of the parade going by.
I mean, you could be right. This could be the entrance. It doesn't look like, just based on the scale of the photo, the guy standing next to it looks like he'd almost hit his head on the the top of it if it was doors.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even like initially I thought the two of them were like looking at like a painting or something on the wall. I was like, why are they just like standing in the corner? But yeah, you're right. It makes more sense that it's actually like a refreshment station.
Yeah. And so yeah, for also, you know, they're going to have, that's what they said, they're still going to have the comfortable seating there. They're going to have wireless internet and recharging stations for electronic devices, beverages, and snacks. So like the same as the Epcot Lounge, right?
Yeah. So they should. I mean, if they had everything but the snacks, I would, you know, say this isn't a lounge.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
How dare you not have my snacks?
You got to have snacks. We must have snacks.
Those free snacks are delicious when you've been walking around all day. You all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course I know what you're talking about. All right. Well, anything else on the lounge?
No. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping they say summer. I'm just hoping maybe May might be a thing because then I could actually check it out when I'm there in May. But I know May is not summer, but
you never know.
Yeah. Maybe they'll open early. All right.
You wouldn't think it would take them this long to put that together, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's just slapping rockwork and, you know, woodwork and stuff. It's nothing big, you know.
Yeah. Furniture, you know, all that stuff.
Easy.
So and by the way, listen, I want to mention this to everybody too. We're probably going to keep this episode fairly short today, just because A, because I'm sick, and B, because it's right before the holidays. So we're going to try to keep this one a little tight today. Although I do have a feeling after our ad, we are going to talk for a while about the one thing. So
we're going to get
that's going to be
but
yeah. Let's talk about the Wonderful World of Disney Holiday Spectacular. Do you watch this every year? Because I do.
I try to. I forget sometimes.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it is going to be on Hulu and Disney Plus too. So.
Yeah, and yeah, usually when it prompts me on Disney Plus, I'll remember to sit and watch it. But in the past, you know, it doesn't always come up as like previously Disney hasn't advertised it, which is weird. And also like because you know, I don't have proper TV like ABC or anything. I'm not seeing ads or anything to remind me to go watch this.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, we always watch on Thanksgiving. You know, they always have the thing on Thanksgiving that they do. Or is it Christmas that they do it?
Well, so this year it looks like it's going to be the weekend of Thanksgiving. Yeah. Because this is happening on Sunday, December 1st at 8 p.m. It looks like, so sorry. The initial spectaculars then, and then you can stream it the next day on Hulu and Disney Plus. So I guess right after Thanksgiving for you. Yeah,
exactly. So and they have those. It's a pretty stacked list. I feel like there's some good people in here. So Elton John, John Legend, Leslie Odom Jr., Seth MacFarlane. Odd addition
sing.
There.
You
know what though?
Sing.
He has I said odd at first, and then I remembered that he put out a holiday album recently.
Yes, he did.
With this Liz Gillies person, or however you say your name. Like, they put out a holiday album. I have not listened to it. It just feels weird that the Family guy is going to be performing at the Wonderful World of Disney. You know, just weird. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, but no, he can sing. I mean, you know, if you've ever watched Family Guy, he does sing all the time. Actually, any of the shows that he does, he tends to sing.
Yeah, he's always been a really good singer.
Yes.
Okay, and then the rest of these I don't know for the most part. So Annika Noni Rose.
She's Tiana.
Oh, okay. So the problem is I know Tiana.
You
don't know names. Pay attention to like actresses' names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ava Max, Carly Pierce, Alui Caraval. That's Moana.
You know who that is? That's Moana. Yeah. So they're of course they're going to be promoting the heck out of Moana too, right?
Of course, yeah. And then 17 and Pentatonics. But I feel Pentatonics has cemented themselves as like a Christmas staple everywhere at this point.
My wife loves Pentatonics.
Good for them.
Yeah, my wife loves them, so she's always happy when they're around. So, no, you're totally right about that though. So let's see what else we got here. So Kristen Bell is narrating the show. So again, we're throwing more Disney things in here. We're going to throw Anna in there. Anyway, and then Alfonso Ribeiro, which is also kind of a random one. Although I feel like he's becoming pretty big too. Outside of being Carlton,
I mean, he's Dancing with the Stars kind of brought him back, and
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's definitely given himself a name. Or I mean, he's always been involved in Disney stuff. I feel like even though he's not always been front and center. I feel like I've always seen him over the years in these things.
That's true. It just for a long time he was just Carlton, right? I mean, from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? But now he's kind of eclipsed that now, and really, I can't stop laughing at Seth MacFarlane being there singing. It's killing me. Just weird. There looks like some really cool locales that they're doing this though, like Moana singing in front of the Te statue at Epcot, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
And it seems like she's singing a song from the new movie too. She's not even doing a holiday song; she's just doing a song from the movie.
They're just doing the plug for the movie in the middle of the show.
They're doing their thing, which is promoting the things that are available from Disney right now through all of their different available channels, right?
Yeah.
So they promote. So yeah. So listen, this will be. Actually, why do I know who this Ava Max person is because my daughter likes the song by her. So anyway, this is it's an interesting lineup. We'll definitely check this out. I know we always like to watch it, but although I feel like we usually watch it on Thanksgiving, or I'm thinking Christmas. We always watch the one on Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming they're still doing the Christmas one, that this is not replacing the Christmas one because they, have the whole parade and they have the whole thing.
Is this, I thought this was the Christmas one, and I thought they just they released it early and just kind of had it there for whenever.
I don't know. Maybe it is, but yeah, maybe it is. But I would be disappointed at that because we like to watch that on Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, usually when I sit down and watch these is, a couple of days before Christmas is when it pops up on Disney Plus, and then I'll sit down and go through it. So
exactly, yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. I don't got anything else. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, no, pretty standard stuff for Christmas shows, which, that's fine. But yeah, we should probably do the ad and then we can get into
the meat of it,
into the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this week our sponsor is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market is a World of DVC company and is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2023, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you.
All right. So let's talk about this. It's funny because we talk about, they announced all this stuff at D23, but then they keep announcing stuff right throughout the year, right? So it's not like it's just a one-time thing. We get more and more, and we get more details and things like that as time goes on. So we heard obviously about the Monsters Inc. land that's being built and for Hollywood Studios. Now, there were a lot of rumors of where this was going to be. And it turns out that the initial rumors were true, that it is going to be taking over the spot where Muppets are currently.
Its courtyard is going away.
Yes. So they're going to turn this into the Monsters Inc. land. Now, they did mention here too. What's that? Monstropolis, yes. They did mention, so they previously had announced the suspended roller coaster where they're going to recreate the door scene, which, it's funny, Trevor, because we talked for years speculating that they were going to replace Rock and Roller Coaster with this. And they were just like, oh, let's keep Rock and Roller Coaster and we'll just build this additionally, instead of just retheming that one, which they're going to retheme that one. We'll get to that in a second. But the other thing they mentioned here, which I don't think they mentioned at D23, but I could be misremembering, is that there also will be a new theater show as well.
Oh,
yeah.
I guess that would explain probably the building on the right. I'm assuming they're just going to keep the Muppet Vision 3D building intact and just put a new show in there. Yeah, that would make sense because that's what I'm looking at right now. Because we have the concept art here for Monstropolis, and I was trying to relate where everything is, and you can very clearly see where the entrance is to Galaxy's Edge off to the side, and there's you can actually see Rise of the Resistance in the back of the concept art.
They actually have the show building in the concept art, which is kind of funny, but
And then I was looking, I'm like, okay, so that I can see where, the middle of Muppet's Courtyard was, and Pizza Rizzo is off to the left. And then, the right was Muppet Vision 3D, which I was like, oh, that's still a pretty large space there, which you kind of answered my question. I was like, what are they going to do with that? It sounds like, there's going to be a show of some sort, or a Monsters Inc. show, which do you suppose it would be, put that thing back, or so help me?
That'd be pretty funny if they did that.
That would be awesome if they did that.
That would be pretty funny. Here's an interesting thought that I'm just wildly speculating on, and I'm hopped up on all sorts of cough medicine, so maybe this is just making my mind crazy. What if they just took the show that's already at Magic Kingdom and move that over here, and then they put something new? Yeah, they remove Laugh Floor from Tomorrowland, which never really fit, and then they do something new with that space.
Huh.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's a new theater show, so that makes it seem like they're going to do something new, but still.
Do you know what that could mean, Tom?
What could it mean?
That could okay. This has a bit of a double-edged thing. Is that if they took out Laugh Floor, that also means that Buzz Lightyear, it would probably go away as well. But then that space gets combined together into a bigger attraction.
Ooh, interesting.
So we lose two, but we gain one, but potentially a bigger, better Tomorrowland type attraction, which I don't know what it would be like.
Just to be clear, we're making this up.
Yeah, so okay. I feel we have every right to speculate about this because we've talked about these things, and the door coaster was something we talked about for years, and it's happening. Yeah. So I'm going to speculate because sometimes saying things is what you need to do to make it happen. Right?
Yeah, I feel like I need to. We've been talking about that door coaster for a long time. So they're going to have a new restaurant here. They're going to have new shopping, and they're going to have a new theater show. One of the things I saw was lamenting a family-friendly option leaving Hollywood Studios, and I get that criticism. I totally understand it, but if they're replacing Muppet Vision 3D with a new show, then they're not really losing a family-friendly option. They're just
that's a net zero, so there's nothing lost there, and then there is a gain of. You get a new roller coaster, and then also we're getting a redo of another roller coaster. So
for years now, I mean, this has been rumored for so long, but I don't remember it ever being the Muppets, though. I don't remember that being the rumor, but
I could have sworn we talked about Muppets taking over Rock and Roller Coaster at some point. Which
we might have, because I think that
it is
that
happening.
Show was,
by the way,
which is happening. Yeah, when the show came out, that more recent show, I think. The guy that created that show had said in an interview that part of their pitch for the show was that they could redo Rock and Roller Coaster with the Muppets. And that's happening.
And we talked about it. We were excited about it. Which, it's
now it's actually happening.
and it looks good. This concept art, I'm like that. It makes me excited. Like, I'll admit, I have not. I've ridden Rock and Roller Coaster the last couple times that I've gone, but it hasn't been it's kind of fallen into the I guess we'll do it. And not
if we go on it, we'll go on it. If we don't, we don't.
Yeah, exactly. Because the whole Aerosmith thing, and actually after I saw this announcement, I talked about this with my son and my wife, and, me and my wife were like, oh, finally Aerosmith's going away. And my son was like, who's Aerosmith? And I'm like,
and that's the problem, right?
Yeah. And I said, you remember in the Rock and Roll Coaster? She's like, oh, them. And I'm like, yeah, they're a band. He's like, okay. He has no idea who they are. Right.
Exactly.
And in talking about, Muppets being family friendly and all that, I would argue that the Muppets have never been, okay. They've not been family friendly in the way you think they've been family friendly.
100%. Yeah.
People seem to treat the Muppets as an extension of Sesame Street. But the reality is that the Muppets have always been like more targeted at a more adult audience. And I will submit Exhibit A as, you know, if you go back and watch the Muppet Show tonight, one of the first guests was Alice Cooper.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like Alice Cooper was like, you know, so they were not afraid to, you know, make jokes and, you know, target it more at adults and not necessarily at, you know, kids. Right. So the thing is I think Rock and Roller Coaster as a Muppets attraction makes sense because adults are the ones who are like, you know, yeah, I'm a fan of Kermit. I'm a fan of, you know, Muppets and all that. Right. It's not kids that are going to be lining up for it anyway. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that make sense?
No, it does make sense. I mean, to your point, you know, Muppets have always been kind of at times low key dirty, right? Like they make dirty.
Yeah, they love double entendres and stuff. So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I think it's also partly, though, there's a generation of people that grew up on Muppet Babies, which was a show targeted to kids with the Muppets. So, which was totally different. And some people think of it that way. But I mean, it is funny, though, that we're talking about removing Aerosmith because Aerosmith is no longer relevant and hasn't been in a while with the Muppets, who are probably older than Aerosmith, if I'm thinking about this, right? Like, or about the same age, but more relevant.
No, hold on. I think they're close to the same age. I'm going to look.
That's what I'm thinking. Now. Yeah. Now we got to look this up and find out.
Okay. Sorry. We're doing, okay. Aerosmith started in 1970.
Okay, yeah.
Muppets didn't.
And the Muppets were
1976.
Okay, so around the same time. Yeah.
Oh, no, wait. No, hold on. Sorry.
They go back further than that. Yeah.
Wait. Oh, hold on. Yeah, sorry. I'm wrong. Their popularity skyrocketed in 1976 with the Muppet Show. They first appeared on television in 1955.
Yeah.
On a show called Sam and Friends, which, okay. Like, yeah. But I guess the Muppets that we know became relevant in 1976. So
well, Kermit and Ralph the dog appeared in Ed Sullivan's show in the 60s. So like Kermit's been around since the 60s.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you're right. Most of the Muppets we know now were really popularized in the 70s, right? But I mean, it's just funny that the Muppets are still relevant, but Aerosmith is not. You know?
Well, but okay, what Muppets have done stuff like they've reinvented, they've brought new Muppet stuff.
No, I agree. Yeah.
When was the last? Like, what was the last Aerosmith album?
I could not tell you
exactly. Like, I think, you know, when we started talking about it, immediately we went, you know, me and my wife were singing.
Don't want to close.
Don't want to miss a thing from.
Don't want to miss a thing from Armageddon.
Right, because that's like the last Aerosmith thing that we remember. Right,
that's the last time they were relevant was then, and that movie is very old at this point.
Yeah. Although I will say, "Walk This Way" is a much better song. But
okay, yeah, well, okay, but
yeah, but just so we're clear on that, like it's, you know, pop culture and, you know, what I actually like or not do not always align. The other thing we should talk about too with Muppets moving is, you know, people are upset about Muppets 3D going away. And that is understandable. And I didn't realize this until I started looking into it, but Muppets 3D was the actual last Jim Henson project. So it was the last thing he worked on before he passed away, which, and, you know, it started in 1991, which, you know, to be fair, it got
ancient.
They got some mileage out of that show. Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, Disney,
it's kind of amazing it lasted that long, honestly.
Yeah,
because that is a long time for a Disney attraction.
Yeah, and again, you know, talking with my son, you know, I use my son as, you know, a bit of a barometer on, like, you know, what's relevant and what's not. You know, he was like, "Did we even see the show?" And I'm like, "Yes, we took you to, like, we went and watched it more than once, but it doesn't stick in his head. Like we were more attached to it because, you know, we knew, like, we came into it, you know, pre-existing, like, knowing the Muppets and, you know, the characters and everything. And so for us, it was like, oh yeah, you know, this was the thing. And my son was like, okay, I know who the Muppets are, but I don't even remember watching the show because, you know, to him, you know, it was, I think the first time he watched it, he was 8, which is an eternity ago to teenagers. So
of course. Yeah.
So yeah, to him, it doesn't have any sentimental value. For the rest of us, though, yes, the show, unfortunately, going away, you know, Disney acknowledges that, you know, it should be preserved. And I did read something saying, you know, that they are looking into finding somewhere to have the show, like not necessarily preserved as the full 3D thing that they did, but at least, you know, maybe the ability to watch the show or something like that. One thing this is a speculation I heard, which it would be interesting if this happened, is you remember that there was that Lightning McQueen meet and greet thing that closed down?
Yeah.
Which is over by Rock and Roller Coaster.
But that's a villains thing now, right? They're doing the villains thing over there.
Is that the villains thing now? Because I didn't think it was in use yet.
Well, they announced that they're putting the villains thing there.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking, you know, maybe that's something that they could have, you know, worked it into, or, you know, put it in there. But yeah, I guess if there's nowhere that the show fits anymore, that doesn't mean that the show is going away. Like, you know, hopefully, you know, Disney finds a way, you know, even if they just published it on Disney Plus, like that would be, I feel that would be good enough, because it's like, you know, I guess I would argue, as far as attractions go, you know, it was basically just a movie with 3D glasses. And yes, there was a couple of effects, and you had things like, you know, Sweetums showed up during the show and stuff like that. But on the whole, though, like, it really, like, it is extremely dated. And, you know, as far as attractions go, it was barely above watching a short film.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
well, listen,
I'm not trying to like bash on it, but I'm trying to say, like, you know, they can do better. Like, there is definitely opportunity to do better. And I think that Aerosmith going away and this becoming Muppets, I think they will do better with this.
No, I agree. And, you know, honestly, Muppet Vision, like you said, I don't like anything leaving, but I feel like I can't be upset about something that lasted for 33 years. You know, like, it's a long time, man. Like, I mean, I don't think it's even really changed all that much. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's been pretty much the same deal and I mean, like,
it never changed. It never changed. Yeah. And sorry, I kind of interjected.
No, it's fine.
But, you know, they beat out Wishes in runtime. Like, Wishes was running for and Illuminations. Like, and
Illuminations is like 20 some years. I mean, this is a long time, man. And I know, like, they did add some effects over the years, but again, it's like, at the time in 1991, 3D was very much a novelty, right? Like, it was a thing at the time. It was, you know, but now 3D doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore. I feel like, you know, it's not as cool as it used to be.
Yeah, it's taken for granted. It's not a feature. It's not something to showcase. Yeah, and really the only reason that the show still works is because it is the Muppets, and it's the campiness and the jokes and the characters. Like it's not the fact that it's Muppets 3D. It's the fact that it's Muppets. Like, yeah. Well, like, and listen, the 3D part can go away.
this is the problem with Disney getting rid of attractions sometimes, right? Like, Disney knows how many people go through this thing on a daily basis, and it's probably not a lot compared to anything else in the park, right?
The last couple of times we did it was like there was never there was not a lot of people. You could always spread out and, you know, pick basically wherever you wanted to sit in the theater, which, you know, that's not a good sign if you know, the theater is that empty. Also, you know, on our last trip, we didn't even go and see it because we were in Hollywood Studios, and it was kind of what do you want to do? Do you want to go watch this? No, not really. and unfortunately, it became, you know, but the choice between that and going to Epcot, we went and got on the Skyliner and went to Epcot. So
yeah. Well, as you mentioned though too, but as you mentioned though too, they do mention in this article, as we move forward with these changes, we are having creative conversations and exploring ways to preserve the film and other parts of the experience for fans to enjoy in the future. So, doesn't mean it's dead. I mean, it doesn't mean it's completely dead, for sure. So, and the concept art for the Rock and Roller Coaster overlay looks pretty cool. I guess my only concern is that they're going to do like a cheap overlay, but I feel like they're not going to for this. I just don't think they're going to. I think this is going to be a pretty nice size redo of this ride.
Okay, so here's something to think about with this.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're very much advertising Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem is like, they're the focal point of this attraction.
Of course.
I don't know how much people remember over the years. Like there's YouTube videos of this. They've done a lot of covers of a lot of songs.
Oh yeah.
And, one of the things about Cosmic Rewind is the music really does make the ride, right?
Yeah.
So this actually does up the potential of this ride that, previously, the thing about Rock and Roller Coaster was, it's Rock and Roller Coaster, but you're listening to one of like 3 Aerosmith songs, right?
Yeah.
Like it was, so it's kind of like, okay, yeah, it was cool. Like, I definitely, I remember the first time I rode with me and my brother way back in the day, we were both singing along to the music as we were riding the ride. But, on subsequent trips with my son, it's like, I kind of enjoyed it, but because it's Aerosmith, it was like, yeah, okay. Like, it was more about the ride and not about the music, but bringing Dr. Teeth in, the sky is the limit on what they could cover. I think that's something people don't realize is that, the same way that Guardians, like, they curated some really good songs for Guardians. And I mean, I have a list, there's definitely a top and a bottom song on Guardians. And there's no debating it for me. But this gives them the same potential where, this ride becomes a thing where, there's 6 or 8 different songs and maybe, they're rotating them out. So it keeps the experience of the ride fresh because you're going, oh, I hope I get this song or is there something new? Right.
Yeah.
Like it actually really does improve this ride specifically that they're giving it to the Muppets because the Muppets can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to make the ride
songs,
funny,
right?
It's going to make the ride funny too, right? I mean, this is going to be a funny ride now. Like they're going to make this. The Muppets are always have that element of funniness, and this is going to add to it. I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity for them to do fun things with this. So,
fun and like I said, I feel like that occasionally I found like watching like YouTube videos, it's like I will get surprised by like when the Muppets do a cover of a song, and I'm like, hey, that was really like outside of it being the Muppet, it's funny and whatever. It's like that was really good. Like,
yeah.
I'm actually really excited for what they can do with this, or what I hope that they do with this, because it should be, the music should be the focus of the ride if it's called Rock and Roller Coaster, or if they still keep the name, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like they're going to keep the name based on what they're saying here. So, I mean, they're saying they're calling it Rock and Roller Coaster stuff.
Yeah, like it's there's the keyboard is on the front of the car, and
it's painted tie dye and everything. So it's I mean, not to go back to Monsters Inc. Land, but I'm just thinking to myself, so Pizza Rizzo is a pretty large size quick service, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to make this, they're going to keep it as a quick service or if they're going to make it a sit down, but also you also have, was it Mama Melrose over there, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, they have the opportunity to do a quick service and a sit down. But interesting to me is, think of all the fun kind of food that they can put in these restaurants, like the Monsters Inc. themed kind of food.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's going to be cool. Right. I mean, like they're going to come up with all sorts of crazy monster looking food to eat.
Just as long as not everything is like Mike Wazowski themed.
No. I see. I'm not thinking of it that way. I'm thinking of it as like things that monsters would eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like what you'd see them eat in the show. Whereas, all I can think about is like you'll see like, at Halloween, they'll do like a Mike Wazowski cupcake or something, right? Like, everything is neon green.
I feel like they're not going to do that, but I mean, who knows? Maybe they won't go. I'm thinking they're going to go like Pandora, this Satuli Canteen where they like have
proper
like,
themed.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Right.
Oh yeah, totally. And again, that this also opens it up that, hey, if it's Monstropolis, they can define whatever it is. Like that's actually a cool thing about it, is that they don't have to like stick to a script of, well, they only eat this food or whatever, right? Like it can, monster food can really be whatever they want. And yeah, you're right. They can go as weird as they want. I did realize the one thing that I feel does have to happen is somewhere in there, they have to sell lemon snow cones.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Like,
Yeah,
why would they not? Right? Like,
I mean, they should. They should.
There should be a stand, there should be an abominable stand selling lemon snow cones specifically. Like,
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. That would be really funny.
That's going to be a miss if they don't. The whole land is, a miss if they don't. So no, I'm not going to say that.
I should note though too, by the way, where Mama Melrose is where they have the restaurant that they went to in the movie. So like you could see it right.
The Japanese restaurant.
Yes, that is the same location as where Mama Melrose is currently. Like if you look at a map, so like Melrose is going to turn it. What is that restaurant called? I forget.
It's some. Was it
Harryhausen's? Harryhausen's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be, so that's what they're going to turn Mama Melrose into, clearly. I mean, it's in the same spot. So bye-bye to Mama Melrose. I went there one time, actually. It was pretty good. I know it's not on top of everybody's list, but it was pretty good the one time we went.
Yeah, but if they turn it into Harryhausen, that means it's a sushi restaurant.
And that makes Trevor very excited.
And then you're not there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
That's too bad.
It also looks like they're gonna tear down that building that's right in the middle there. That was the gift shop, that Muppets themed gift shop that was only sometimes open.
Yeah, it was like a weird. At one point, there was like Christmas stuff in there, and that's all getting pushed back. So this is actually like, it's not just Muppets Courtyard. They are expanding. Yeah, they're expanding what used to be Muppets Courtyard.
Yeah, so that building looks like it's going to be gone, and then it looks like the new building is going to be where the parking is, basically. So like they're going to take out some parking, it seems like, for this, which is fine. They've lots of parking there. That's not a big deal. Yeah. The funny thing is they're leaving the fountain in. They're just changing what the fountain is going to be. It's changed to like I don't know what you would call that, just like an eye, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like a monster, like the eyeball from Monsters Inc., right?
Well, yeah, and they're largely they're largely keeping Muppet Vision 3D, the building, the same. They're just putting like monster things on it, right?
Which,
like, I mean,
it's very easy to do, right? Like, and actually, the more that we're looking at, the more it does make sense why they chose this, because the area itself is already themed as like Muppet Courtyard was kind of like a city landscape, right? So it's like, hey, Monstropolis is just a city with monster theming to it, so that's an easy one.
Well, and let's also mention though too, right? This was rumored. The other places was rumored to go was where Star Wars Launch Bay is. Now that we know this is going over there, what's going to go in Star Wars Launch Bay area? Like, is that gonna are they going to continue developing? Because there is space over there, and that whole Star Wars Launch Bay is nothing. It's empty, right? Like, that's an empty part of the park. There's space there. I mean, listen, they haven't finished announcing everything yet. We're gonna hear more things, and that's another place where they could expand Hollywood Studios even more
and actually make it like usable. So
park.
It's not just I mean, if you've been over there, like Launch Bay, even back before Galaxy's Edge, like Launch Bay was kind of in a sad state.
It was,
because like that whole area is just nothing. Like it's wide open nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's the Star Wars Launch Bay building, and then behind that is a bunch of administrative buildings, right? Like, there's really a ton of space back there as long as they're okay with moving all the administrative stuff. But like, I mean, there's a lot of things.
Yeah, administrative buildings can be moved wherever. They don't need to sit with. The only reason that they were there was because that used to be an operating studio. Right.
Yeah,
and there used to be animators and stuff there. So, there's nothing saying that they have to keep it.
Yeah. I mean, there was the whole backlot tour that would go all through there, and you would see the wardrobe department and like all that, all that cool stuff back there, but doesn't need to be there anymore. Just doesn't.
That's true. Okay. There is one last thing I want to point out here on this concept art. And I really, so I'm noticing down in the bottom right-hand corner, outside of Monstropolis, or like on the other side of the wall going towards Galaxy's Edge, there's some cars sitting there.
I noticed that, yeah.
Which I'm thinking back to like Monsters Inc. Like, Mike had his car and stuff. Like, I'm like, why would they specifically show that? Like, unless there were like,
I feel like I see Mike's car in front of the theater though. Look in front of the theater.
Yeah.
That looks like his.
Yeah, that is Mike's car. But then there's these other cars, which the neat thing to me with that is, you know, maybe this turns into, you know, there's something interactive with, you know, monster cars.
Oh, that'd be
because
cool.
because you know, in the show, like, you know, there was all the different types of monsters, and they all had their own like custom things, right? Like nobody had the same stuff because, you know, there was a you know, a 3-eyed monster instead of a 2-eyed monster, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I have to wonder. I find it weird that they would somebody would draw that into the concept art if they weren't planning to do something like that. But that's like, why would you just put cars there if they didn't have some kind of element to them that was interactive?
It's also in the concept art that they originally shared at D23. Actually, the car is in one of the pictures. So, I mean, it feels like they're doing it, right? Like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Like, I feel like it does actually help with the cohesiveness of the land itself, where it's like, you know, showpieces are one thing, and it's, you know, actually kind of talking about Launch Bay, you know, it's the same thing where it's like, you know, you can build a nice big space, but if there's nothing to do in that space, like, it doesn't, it's not interesting. Like this does look like they're adding a lot of things to it, and you know, it shouldn't just be like nice to look at. There should be some interactivity to it.
Well, and I'm kind of glad they're tearing down that gift shop, because like if you look at the concept art, like if you go on like Google Maps right now and you look above, like it's a kind of a tight spot, right? It's kind of a tight area. Like it's not very conducive to just like walking around there. But now they're going to like open this up to in big open areas. And you know, listen, I want to state this again. I love Muppet Vision 3D. I loved the whole Muppet thing. But let's be honest, Muppet's Courtyard was kind of a dead area, right? Like it was. I mean, you would go to Muppet Vision 3D, but like the rest of it was just kind of deadness, right? Like,
yeah. And if it, you know, to tell you the scale of how dead it was literally next to Galaxy's Edge, and people were still not going into it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, Galaxy's Edge is one of the busiest areas on Disney property because of, you know, obviously rightfully so, Star Wars is a popular IP and all that. But the fact that, you know, being right next to the most popular IP didn't help Muppet's Courtyard says something about, you know, Muppet's Courtyard was, it was time for it to go in its current state.
Exactly. This is an upgrade to me. I know people are going to be upset about that, but and, you know, out with the old, in with the new. Let's do some new stuff.
I feel I agree with you. I feel this is an all around improvement of the state of Hollywood studios. Like it's not just about Muppets. It's about, you know, Hollywood studios definitely needs some more stuff. And, you know, you've heard me. I've been very vocal about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I'm glad that they're giving it some more life, and they're giving it some more reason to stay there longer. That, you know, for people that don't want to just go and do Star Wars. And they're also not sacrificing Muppets either. Like it's, you know, the fact that they moved Muppets into Rock and Roller Coaster, I think that says something.
It's getting new life, really.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, the other part of this too is, you know, my daughter's not going to care about going to Muppet's Courtyard, but she would care about going to this, even if she's not going to go on the new roller coaster. Right. And like, that's not meant for her necessarily at this age. There's still going to be the new stage show there, and it's still a very a themed land that she understands, that she knows about. You know, because she's watched Monsters Inc. She knows Monsters Inc. And I mean, if Sully's walking around that land, like that's another reason for me to take my 7-year-old daughter to Hollywood Studios when we skipped it completely last time. We didn't even go last time. So yeah.
Here's an interesting thought. Do you think you would actually see a Randall meet and greet?
I mean, who wouldn't want to do that, right? Let's do the Randall meet and greet. Yeah.
I mean, he falls in with villains now. They can make Randall into, because it's always been Mike and Sully, right? You know, Randall should get some FaceTime too.
Oh, and if they don't have a what's her name? The
Celia?
Yeah, no, the one that's always
Roz.
Yelling at Mike with Roz. Thank you.
Yeah.
If they don't have Roz floating around somewhere, like that's a big miss by them.
Well, I guess you've never been on the Monsters Inc. ride in California. Roz was actually the big selling point of that ride, because the ride itself was repurposed, but they put a Roz animatronic at the end, and she like, I don't know how they did it, but she was actually like calling out like people in the ride. Like,
oh wow,
like,
okay.
you would actually stop, and she would like, hey, you with the glasses, and like she would say stuff like targeted at people in the ride, which was very cool.
That is cool. Yeah, that is cool. All right, well, I think that's probably enough talk about that one for now, right?
Yeah, until we see more. Yeah, I think we'll. I hope I'm right about the music thing. I really,
that'd be funny. Yeah,
I want to be right that they're gonna do like a music selection, and they're gonna have rotating songs. Like it should be like will. Guardians. I feel it. Like,
well, they kind of said that they were gonna bring new songs to it, right? So I mean, but yeah, it'd be great if it was a rotating thing like that. So
yeah. Okay.
All right. I know this doesn't matter that much to you, but
you put this on here, and it, I saw it and I went, okay, fine. Tom is going on the Treasure. I will talk about cruise ship stuff, even though I'm never going to be on the cruise ship. That's fine.
To be fair, there's a lot of park stuff in this cruise ship. So
yes, I will get.
And if you didn't watch the christening, which I know you don't care about it, the christening was pretty great.
I did see some video of it, and I'm okay. Is this the part where you get mad about how there's a drone show again somewhere that you can't watch?
That's exactly right. Because there's again a really cool drone show that they decided to. I mean, listen, it was really cool. Actually, we watched it. My daughter was like, "Oh, I want to see that when we go on the ship," and I was like, "Sorry, that's the thing that only exists for this."
Yeah, it's happened one time
only, and never to be seen again. I mean, they had a giant stingray like floating through the sky. It was awesome. And then I was laughing too because the production of it was not Disney quality. They did a very bad job with actually producing that show. There was audio issues, there was video issues, it was all over the place. The drone show was fantastic. I thought it was also funny though too. They had I forget who it was, but they had somebody there singing a song, and I'm listening to the song and I'm like, I don't know what this song is, but it sounds like they made this song just for the ship. And sure enough, they did. The ship has its own song, which I think is hilarious. But I thought it looked really great. It was, unfortunately, it was kind of short, but the stuff that I was happy to see is that we're now getting real views of the spaces and not just concept art, right?
Yes. And I have looked at these, and I will say, if I could do one thing, I would really want to get into this Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion bar. Yeah. The Haunted Mansion parlor looks amazing. Yeah, it really does. And not only, I mean, part of why I really love this, besides the fact that it's Haunted Mansion themed, is that they used a lot of stuff that is not in the Haunted Mansion, right? They used like a lot of the stuff that Raleigh Crump came up with for the original version of it, which was the Museum of the Weird. So there's like very cool stuff in there. And of course they have the Donald chairs in there, which now I can go and sit in the Donald chair. And that's there. I mean, they have these really cool drink things. Trevor, this one it's not on this page, but I also saw too that there's a secret menu. I don't know if you saw this, but
oh, really?
So there's a secret menu, but they give you like a tablet, and you have to solve a puzzle to get to the secret menu.
Oh, I'm in.
I know. I saw it and I was like, okay, that's the coolest thing ever. That's amazing. I need to do this now. But yeah, I mean, even the merchandise they're selling in here is very cool. The commemorative mugs.
I like that they are nautical themed and not just like, because it's like the sailor and the mermaid and everything, where instead of just like the typical Haunted Mansion ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, they also have two, like, there's a video in here. Madame Leota is like literally floating through the bar at one point. Not entirely sure how they're doing that, but they also have the mirrors. They have the ghosts inside the mirror behind the bar. I mean, they have this really cool fish tank. There's just a lot of really neat things in here that are Haunted Mansion inspired, but are just different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like a weird, you would almost think this is like a knockoff version of the Haunted Mansion, because it's like, it's just different. But yeah, you're right. It's hitting all the right notes for Haunted Mansion.
Yeah,
fish tank too. I love the fish tank.
The fish tank is very cool. Yeah. Also, I'm just realizing that the melting face statue is actually
That's
it looks like
Crump.
Raleigh Crump. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought they were just doing the like tributes to his ideas, but no, they actually that statue is actually him. That's
and
cool.
it's based on he made a comment about like doing like a wax or like having like a sculpture where it was like actively melting as part of the effect, which is like just insane. But
especially when they were designing this, at the time, like trying to figure out the technology to make that work was probably impossible.
Yeah. So he's got his commemorative area. Let's okay. So we talked about the Haunted Mansion parlor. I do also want to say the Skipper Society looks
very cool,
fantastic as well. Although I do feel it feels a little too clean, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
like that's my only comment against it is that like it doesn't have to be like that
grungy.
Yeah, it doesn't have that like Jungle Cruise, like you're out in the jungle kind of thing. Like everything is very smooth and very well, very well designed woodwork, but
nothing's worn. It doesn't look like anything's been used. Yeah, I get
it feels a little too new.
I get that. It's interesting though, because if they like wore stuff down, somebody would probably be like, "I paid this much money to be on this boat. And this thing looks like junk." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of worn stuff, but you're right. It's not like the actual Jungle Cruise ride, but I'm still gonna go there. I'm still gonna check it out.
Yeah, I have to say my favorite feature of it though is that parrot chandelier.
The parrot chandelier is pretty cool.
It is pretty fantastic.
It really is. Yeah, absolutely. I also have to say I'm extraordinarily excited for the Coco dinner show. That looks just really cool. Mm-hmm. We talked about the food that's going to be there, and I'm excited for the food. But I mean, let's be honest, Coco has some of the best music out there for the Disney movies. I mean, it's great music in that movie, and I'm a sucker for a mariachi band too, and they're doing like a full-on mariachi band for this, and I think it's going to look awesome. Again, we're finally just getting to see real looks of this instead of just the shots of concept art. And it's interesting how the concept art, even like the grand hall here, I remember seeing the concept art and going, that looks a little dark. But now that I see the actual pictures of it in real life, I'm like, oh, okay, that all works. It looks really awesome, and the chandelier looks crazy cool, and it looks incredible, honestly, overall.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
It's going to be a good ship, and you're going to have a great time on it,
and you'll just watch from afar.
I won't.
I will get you some stuff from the Haunted Mansion bar. I would
appreciate that, absolutely.
100% going to happen. I will get them for you.
Actually, hey, you're going to be on there right before I'm in Florida, so
so I can actually like give it to you.
You could. It won't have to be shipping it across the world.
Yeah,
you can actually like hand it to me. That'll be cool. That actually makes me a little bit more excited for you getting on the boat
because of what you're getting. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up.
Sorry, not even what I'm getting. Like I, even if you don't get me anything, I'm not like that. Even just seeing like if you're like, hey, check out this stuff, I would just be happy to see it.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to get me anything.
No, I will. But yeah, let's wrap this thing up. Let's get out of here and get over to our, not a holiday for you, but a holiday for me. So.
Yes. Yeah. Go enjoy your turkey. For everybody else listening to this, hopefully you have a good Thanksgiving and, eat all the turkey, have all the family time or whatever it is you do. Everyone's got their own things they do at Thanksgiving. So, and like we said at the beginning of the show, there will not be a show next week because of Thanksgiving. So we will talk to you guys in a couple of weeks, or talk at you guys. I don't know. I know we don't. Well, we do talk on the Discord, but
yeah, of course,
We'll there'll be more to talk about in upcoming weeks. But for now, if you guys want to share your own trip reports or ask us questions or anything like that, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys, and hearing what you think about the show and just, talking with you in general. For that same reason, we also are on social media. So you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. make sure on Facebook that you check out our group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where we have lots of great conversations about, the stuff that we talked about on the show today. There's, people asking trip reports, asking their own stuff about DVC and Disney in general. And, just a great group to be a part of. So make sure you check that out. And if you want to help support the show, you can always go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merch. Maybe you have a friend who's a fan of the show that you want to get them something for Christmas. Hey, you can get them a Welcome Home Podcast mug for Christmas, and we got it all in the store there. We'd still think there's still time to get it to you before Christmas. I actually don't know.
I don't know what the shipping times are like. Yeah.
I know. In Canada we're actually having a postal strike right now, so I guess getting it to Canada might be questionable. But,
well timed.
They're great about that. But no, outside of that, you can get whatever merchandise you want from the store. Similarly, we do also have a Patreon, so you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod. You can check out our different levels of Patreon support. Our Patreon supporters get access to an exclusive logo that is only on Patreon, so you can't get it in the store. And also our Patreon listeners get access to the Discord server, which we talked about earlier, which is yet another place that we have great conversations about, Disney news and, stuff from the show and just general silliness and whatever that goes along. I will take this moment to call out. So Brian in the Discord said that Rock and Roller Coaster is the worst roller coaster on Disney property. Sorry, Brian, I'm calling you out here. I disagree. Ouch. And I'm going to throw a hot take out there for the end of the show that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is worse than Rock and Roller Coaster.
Whoa,
yeah.
Harsh.
And if you think about it, Seven Dwarfs and Mine Train is not much of a roller coaster. So
yeah.
I'm just putting it out there, that's my opinion, and we're all entitled to our opinions. But so yeah, you can come in the Discord and talk about that if you want to talk about that.
There you go.
And then last but not least, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or anywhere that you can leave us stars, leave us a 5-star review. It's Christmas, and everyone likes seeing twinkly stars, so. We would like to see some stars leading up to Christmas. So, leave us a review. And also, on iTunes, if you want to write us a review, we love hearing what you guys think about the show and, just knowing, what people like and don't like. So, keep that kind of stuff coming and, make our Christmas wish come true with some 5-star reviews.
Yeah. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, just about any podcast app out there. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home and Disney, and you'll find us very quickly. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC Resale Market, and of course, World of DVC for sponsoring this episode and also being a big supporter of the show over the years. Please check them out for DVC needs. And join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.